As we reset the scene, as we wait for President Donald Trump to walk down those stairs, we can tell you that his arrival time was set for 1:55, and he's pretty much on schedule after a brief delay a little bit earlier today. That's how these sort of things go. He's going to be speaking at the Galt House for the AmVets convention that is happening there. He's also going to be campaigning for Governor Matt Bevin. In fact, Bevin has said several times to expect the president and maybe the vice president as well. If you're watching this right now and you're one of those folks who gets off at maybe, 2:30, 3 o'clock, maybe, that's what your job entails every day, we can tell you that traffic is going to be a nightmare. You're going to want to check our website, WDRB.com, right now to look at all of the roads that are going to be closed. It is going to be an issue whether you want it to or not. We can tell you that there are going to be a lot of street shutdowns, Main Street between 2nd and 5th Streets, as well as Muhammad Ali Boulevard from 3rd to 5th Streets. And the closures could reach as far north as River Road, as far south as Chestnut Street, depending on which way the motorcade does decide to travel. We were talking about this just a moment ago, Elizabeth. I was telling you, I was talking to Valerie Chin in the newsroom. There's Manhattan Grill right there. Not too far from the TV station. You can see that they have snow plows out right now blocking anyone who may want to get down close to the seal box. There are several police cars there as well right now. You can imagine it's a huge police presence.
South Air Force One with the president.
That shot right there that you're seeing on the left-hand side of your screen right now is from our Doug Smith. He's our photojournalist on the scene. He is the only photographer, and Lawrence Smith is our only reporter, in Louisville that can get this close to the action, that can see the president. And it looks like there he is right now emerging from the plane with Governor Matt Bevin. But I mean, this plane left Maryland just before 1 o'clock, and here it is. I think it was 1:45 when we started to actually see it flying into Louisville International Airport, the Kentucky National Guard there. I mean, they really made up for some lost time because they got a late start.
Not your typical Southwest flight that we would be taking to that area, right? So they made it in about an hour, maybe a little over an hour.
Yeah, and we anticipate that the president will quickly get into the motorcade here and start his trip toward the Galt House. We know I-65 is probably the way he's going to go. There he is waving to the crowd, a couple more fist pumps to the crowd as well, some thumbs up. President Trump is officially here in Louisville for at least a couple of hours. I'm on Base Road here in Jackson County. It's not too far away from Brownstown, actually just north of that small town here in southern Indiana. Want to show you exactly what people here are dealing with. You can see that pieces of a silo and tin roof are now hanging in trees. You can see that some silos are bent and leaning over to the side. Obviously, something came through here with some force. That's the big question at this point for neighbors and the EMA director as they already start to pick up from the damage here. Was it tornado? Was it straight line winds? At this point, the EMA director does think that it was straight line winds. Of course, the National Weather Service will probably be out and monitor all of this tomorrow to give the official word. I should also mention power is out right now. You can see crews are working on power on this side of the road here as we speak to get the lights back on. And I want to walk over here a little bit more too, because this isn't even the extent of the damage what I just showed you here. It's pretty extensive. And as we were driving over here in just the last couple of minutes, the past 15 minutes, we did see quite a bit of damage. Irrigation systems in nearby fields have been flipped over. I also want to show you what's going on right back here. The people who live here are already trying to clean up this damage from what has happened in this afternoon storm. We're going to talk to them here in just a couple minutes. I can tell you no one was hurt here so far. All we've heard of is property damage. And again, the big question looms, what exactly happened here in this southern Indiana community? We'll have updates throughout this newscast. And I'm Chris Sutter, a night for the history books here in Kentucky. Here's how the numbers shake out right now. Bashir has 709,345 votes. Bevin had 704,012 votes. That's a difference of 5,333 votes.
Of course, WDRB is team coverage.
President Trump's campaign just released this statement regarding the race. Quote, the president just about dragged Governor Matt Bevin across the finish line, helping him run stronger than expected in what turned into a very close race at the end. A final outcome remains to be seen.
Tonight, Kentucky now has a new attorney general.
Republican Daniel Cameron won with 58% of the vote, beating Democrat Greg Stumbo. You may recall Cameron was recently caught up in a legal battle. A Louisville man sued him, saying he didn't meet the qualifications to run for attorney general. But a judge disagreed. Cameron is a former aide to U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell, was a clerk for a federal judge, and practices law in Louisville. He's the first African-American to win the office of attorney general. And in the race for Secretary of State in Kentucky, Michael Adams beat Heather French Henry with 52% of the vote. Adams previously worked for Senator Mitch McConnell and in George W. Bush's administration. In southern Indiana, a race called that was only separated by a few dozen votes.
WDRB's
WDRB News.
Joel, thank you. We're also following a few other mayoral races in southern Indiana. In Scottsburg, Democrat Terry Amick, a former city councilman, beat out incumbent Mayor Bill Graham. Graham, a Republican, was first elected as mayor of Scottsburg in 1988. In Austin, Democrat Roger Hawkins is the new mayor, and in Salem, the president of City Council, Republican Justin Green, is the new mayor. Well, Election Day is in the books, but it wasn't all smooth sailing at the polls. There were some scary moments, actually, from a fire to a polling location on lockdown. Bowen Elementary School was put on lockdown this afternoon because a stolen vehicle was found in the area with someone inside. LMPD says 2 suspects ran away. 1 was caught and arrested. Police say the lockdown was just a safety precaution. About 40 people were inside Bowen Elementary at the time. Those who weren't inside had to come back later to vote.
So I waited outside for a little bit.
That lockdown lasted about 45 minutes, and because of that, voting was extended at Bowen Elementary until 6:45 tonight. And in Indiana, some people had to vote outside at a Sellersburg polling location. Workers at the American Legion, Post 204, say they saw smoke coming from the lights, and it smelled like an electrical fire. So poll workers grabbed the ballots and had to finish the rest of the day outside. They used a generator to power the voting machines. And in Bullitt County, voting scanners jammed at Pleasant Grove and Crossroads elementary schools. The polls never closed and the scanners were eventually fixed. County Clerk Kevin Mooney says all the ballots that were jammed were counted.
David, yes, that's what's on everyone's mind. You know what else is on everyone's mind? That last race. It was
awesome.
Impressive. I mean, when you see those horses come by, the strength, the beauty, it is really something to be seen out here.
The thing is, you know, it's hard to put into words, but where we're standing, I mean, you have the historic Churchill Downs twin spires in the background, and when you see the horses go by and see the spires over them, I mean, you know, it's like, you really realize how lucky we are to have the jobs we have.
Get a little misty in the eyes, don't you?
No,
No?
but it is a...
All right, important information ahead, Mark. Thank you very much. Over 105,000 people were here at Churchill Downs today. A lot of them were partying it up in the infield. Our Gilbert Coursey, we sent him out there. And the thing I always find really interesting about the infield is a lot of people out there never even saw a horse today.